this morning, 4 times British Hairdresser of the Year and International Creative Director for the HOB Salon Group. He's multitasking, which I'm impressed about because he's looking at his phone. Akin Konizi, good morning, lovely. What were you going to say as I said, we're going live? You went, oh.
I was going to say, morning. Coffee and 2 sugars, please.
Coffee and 2 sugars. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, you?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So I spoke to you yesterday. We had a quick chat yesterday, and you're keeping yourself busy. So let's talk about, we are going to talk about you and your career and advice and that kind of stuff. So just to put that out there to everybody now, that's what we will predominantly be talking about. But obviously also want to talk about, because we can't ignore the current situation that we find ourselves in. So in terms of the team, how are you keeping in touch with the team?
You know what, as you said, these are unprecedented times, and I don't do anything precedented. My relationship with my team, and when you say team, we're talking about my creative education team. And then I've got another team. I've got Clive and Paul, and then I've got my managers, and then I've got my franchisees. But and I deal with all of them very differently. And my creative team, really, are like my friends. I love them. They love me. We're a close family. We support each other. We love each other. And that's the only way I'll have it. And the boys have been with me many years. Liv's been with us many years. So we actually, first and foremost, are looking after each other's psychology and how they're feeling. And then they've been incredible. I mean, I've got to say, they've been doing so much stuff for social media. They've been creating videos, Insta Live. We've been calling them live in isolation with. And we've been doing that quite regularly, and we've slowed it down a little bit now because I just want to give them a little bit of time before we go back to work. But we speak and we have house party, which I prefer to Zoom most of the time.
Yeah, okay.
So
long as you remember to lock the room.
Yeah, that's happened. But we do that at least once a week, and then we're texting and we're sending each other funnies and jokes, and they get into banter. I let them get on with it themselves as well. I'm a little bit like I suppose the big brother, dad of the family, and I want them to get on with it with each other, rather than it all be about me. And that's been a learning on this situation, because normally it's kind of I am the middle focus, and the main focus, and they've really run with it themselves, taking responsibility. And there have been days when I've not wanted to be in touch with anybody at all, because in this lockdown, you get periods of ups and downs.
Yeah, of course.
And my downs aren't bad, but they're periods of wanting to really not get on the phone, not do the meetings. And they've just supported me through that as well. They're incredible.
I think it's important that you support each other, isn't it?
Yeah. And then Clive and Paul, we are regularly in contact. Those two are real big texters, and Natasha, our general manager. So I kind of just chime into that when I need to, when I have to. Otherwise, they'll be sitting on it all night. So we're in, 20 texts a day, meetings every 2 or 3 days. Yeah. So really, I mean, I need a holiday, to be honest with you.
So we have a proposed date for opening, and I know there's been more news this morning that will that be brought forward, and you and I touched on that. How are you managing keeping in touch with clients? We'll talk about your preparation for going back to work, but in terms of managing client expectation during these times?
Clients need to know that we are going back eventually. I think that's all they need to know, right?
Yeah.
And we've been sending out lots of social media on our HOB Salons page, so they're kept informed of not only what we're up to, but still on trends, still what we've always been doing. We're going to actually do an Insta Live. Natasha, who's brilliant at communication with everybody, she's turned out to be incredible. Clive's daughter, and is so aspirational, and she's going to actually do something to the clients, I think, next week. But apart from that, we need to let them know what's going on. We did a great thing a week ago where we were asking them to not go and get their hair cut in a salon or anybody at home, because it's not safe, and that's the only reason. Financially, I mean, people are desperate to get their hair done. And one of the other things I realised, and this is what I love about being me, okay, and one of the things that I've nurtured is to get these inspirations and these realizations. And I've realized that actually getting your hair done is a drug. I mean, we're addicted, you know.
Yep.
We're absolutely,
we are.
these people are addicts. I mean, why else would anybody go and, you know, do a deal and to give people money to cut their hair when, you know, they'd rather, you know, they'd probably be out for food and stuff. So it's an addiction.
Yeah.
Feeling good, feeling beautiful, it's an addiction. And I'm a little bit concerned that the addiction, having been, 8 weeks, is starting to wear off a little bit, where they're thinking, you know what, I can do without this drug. And so we need to keep them engaged, otherwise they will, you know, they'll be, what's the word when you're off? Gone cold turkey. Yeah. And then they don't need it so much.
Yeah, but then I think once they know they can have it, I think
they'll be hooked again. Yeah,
absolutely. Because everybody and also it's not just the haircut, is it? It's the feeling it gives you and the relationship that people have with their stylist. I mean, I really think the media, the national media, underestimate the sense of wellness and mental health and the sharing that people do with their stylist. You tell your stylist more things than you tell your partner often.
My clients don't tend to do that. My clients.
That's because you don't talk. I've seen you cut people's hair. You're
done,
so concentrated.
Right? But when I get a relationship with my clients, it's a real relationship, and then we really talk real stuff. I don't do the chit chat. You know, you're there for a job. You're there to get your hair done. You're there to feel great, and I'll do it if you let me. So put your head down, right? But afterwards, we'll have a cup of coffee together. We'll sit, and then they'll tell me intimate stuff. And if if there's a relationship built, then they'll tell me about stuff that is really important to them. And I will. I also, you know, I actually use my clients. They're like my friends. Most of my clients that I have, and I don't have a very big clientele because I'm not that quick, and I'm very busy. But they do anything for me, and I go to them for advice and services and everything.
So Dawn Rose has said it's totally a drug. Need is not a want anymore. Necessity over luxury. She's absolutely right.
Yes.
And Corey Brown has agreed with you. He said clients are human and live through this also, and they will be patient when given the opportunity. They invest in mental health, and it's the connection that they have. And it's true. We've got lots of comments coming in. So Marguerite said we need some urgent clarification, which I would agree. We need the government guidelines so that he's saying for their own sanity, the team, but also for clients. So moving on to that, what kind of plans are you and the boys putting in place for going back?
So again, as an insight into how I work, I don't ever pretend to know everything about anything. I don't think the government know what they're doing. I think that they are completely playing it by ear. They're waiting to see what happens in Europe as to whether there becomes a second spike. And I think that all that we can do is get measures into place ready for action. And I believe that we may even be called to action before July the 4th, because I think that they're going to get pressure. The government are going to get pressure from hopefully our hairdressing bodies and everybody else, the clients, to open us earlier. So we are prepared to open even sooner. So we've been preparing. We're getting PPE. So the clients will be given a pack.
Right, I was going to ask you. People are asking, what are you doing for your team and for your customers?
Right, there'll be masks, there'll be gowns, there'll be towels, disposable towels, there'll be screens at reception. There won't be a massive consultation situation like there was before, where we're told to sit in front of our client and talk to them. Colour consultations, a lot of them will be done over the phone, over FaceTime or Skype, or however we're going to do it, through the camera, because there are going to be some lengthy consultations for colour, that's for sure. No teas and coffees. No magazines. We are actually cashless. We went cashless. About
you
6
did that
months
before,
ago.
Didn't you?
Yes.
Did that have much of an impact?
No, not like we thought. And our biggest fear was tips, and actually that hasn't suffered either. Because people realise after the first time that they come in, they've got no change on them. That then the next time they come, we've changed them. That we're going towards a moneyless, cashless society. It's as simple as that. And there's lots of other things that we're getting into place. You know, people will be phoning before they come in. But to be very honest with you guys, go on the news on your iPhones every morning. Go on Sky News. Just go on your phones, and every single day you will find something about hairdressing. We are so relevant to the public that we're named as restaurants, pubs, hairdressers. I mean, and it always tells you what's going on, but it's so contradictory of what they're saying that they're leaving us up in the air. All you need to do is think commonsensically as to what you would like if you walked into a salon. Yeah. You wouldn't want your hand shaked. You wouldn't want a girl breathing all over you at reception, and you wouldn't want a junior.
Yeah.
While they're an apprentice, while they're shampooing you, spitting and breathing all over you. So masks. Yeah. We're also going to get the visors
for the team. You'll have visors.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? All of that, and then who knows what's going to happen once we open? Because I've got a very suspicious feeling that people are going to get very blasé and nonchalant. And I'm not just talking about hairdressers. I'm not saying irresponsibility is going to set in. I'm just going to say that as the rates fall down, people will want to go back to a normal life.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, we may get a second spike. But I always know that I don't know.
Yeah.
So we just have to see.
And it's also about just looking at the reliable news sources, isn't it? I mean, I would avoid personally a lot of the media because, there was one newspaper that said 4 weeks ago, we're going back on May the 11th. And the following Sunday, They ran a headline saying hairdressers won't open for 6 months. They're speculating until we get the government guidelines. And I know that the NHBF and we will only report on HDA on stuff that is fact. So stuff that is rather than speculation, because there's a lot of anxiety for people at the moment. Some people are not earning any money. Some people have been fortunate enough to be furloughed. So Nicola Wilson saying, will you do a medical questionnaire? So I know that I spoke to Leslie Jennison yesterday, and they're going to be temperature checking clients, but that's not for everybody.
We may do that. We may do the temperature check. Very expensive to do that properly where you've got something at the door. But we may maybe do something where there's a thermometer of sorts or something. We're still looking into that.
Right.
But as I said, I don't think anybody should go into panic over this. We just need to get nearer the time. And, the government guidelines, they're so loose because, as I said, I don't think they know what they're doing.
I mean, the guideline, I know that the NHBF are working with the government on guidelines. So anybody watching should look at that. They've issued some guidelines that they think what the government are going to approve, and they have been in kind of the health and safety parties with the government working on those. So I would imagine they are as near as the guidelines as we've got at the moment anyway, without them actually being rubber stamped.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a piece in the Evening Standard today about, taking precautions and what we're going to actually be doing in the salons. And that's today.
Yeah. And
it's big news at the moment because the clients are thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? How is it going to be when I go back in?
Yeah.
And every time there's news, there's money to be made. So the sensationalism is always going to keep happening. And as you said, Jane, you've just got to listen to the best sources and use your common sense.
I mean, the one thing I really hope is this. I think this is a real chance for the industry to be recognised for the profession that it is, because the fact it's been in the news so much because people are so desperate to get their hair cut and coloured. For me, that's, in a sense, we'll be able to use that as a positive moving forward.
Listen, there could be riots on the street soon if we're not open.
There'll be riots in my house if it's not open soon, let me tell you.
I mean, the roots that you see out there are incredible. I've never seen anything like it on people.
I think some people, we're almost going to have virgin hair by the time we go back. Donna Neal said they've got everything in place, but she's saying about PPE being recyclable and, because there's a whole piece around sustainability, and actually PPE, not all of it is, I'm assuming, recyclable. I don't know, but I think there are options, aren't there? So you can get disposable paper.
The masks are good. Not the masks, the visors. We're thinking about visors. Because we may even be visors and masks. We don't know
for the
until
team.
We actually start.
Yeah.
But we'll be guided by the government. But the visors will give us a little bit more breathing space to be able to be creative, because it's very difficult to have a relationship with that client. She's going to probably have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
We're going to have to wear a mask. Yeah. We're probably going to have to wear a visor. I mean, they're talking about gloves as well. I know the barbers are talking about wearing gloves.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I worry that people are going to say, you know what, sod this, let's just get on with it.
Yeah, we don't. We
And that
need
is my
people to stay
concern.
safe. No, I
If
get
it's
that.
too strict, people will just not adhere to it at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing that everywhere. I mean, going to a supermarket, people aren't doing the 2 meters distance.
No.
Depends on where you go, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And even then, so there'll be the people that will keep eroding the safety measures, and when people see that, they'll think, well, it must be okay then.
Yeah, and it's not okay.
And there you go.
No. Marguerite Marshall, good question this. My concern is if we can't have overlapping clients between colours, how do we afford our juniors and assistants? I mean, what's your plan for kind of, because obviously you've got the academy, what's your plan in regards to training your youngsters and continuing their progression?
Well, the first 4 to 6 weeks, we won't be having the academy open because we're going to be inundated with clients. So we're going to need those assistants in the salon.
Yeah.
It's also quite a close-knit environment in the academy with the classes and etc. We don't want to put them in, and also we're taking them out of an environment where they're potentially at risk in the salon and putting them into a completely new environment with lots of people in the academy. It's too much cross contamination. We don't need it. What it's about at the moment for us is not so much education, it's about survival.
Yeah.
And I think that the hairdressing industry has been in a mode of survival for the last 3 years anyway, but it's now really ramped up. And what I really don't want to see is a lot of people that don't survive this. We've done so well, and everyone needs to pace themselves and be sensible. Yeah. So as far as education goes, there's going to be nobody coming from abroad, that's for sure. There's no international students. We've had about 5 trips to China cancelled, to Japan. Yeah. We've got people that were supposed to be coming over that aren't coming over. So that side of education is obviously on hold. Our own salon teams, where we send our educators out to do salon visits. Yeah. Again, there's no point in exposing our educators to every single salon. Yeah. It's just too dangerous. So let's just all take it easy when we first go back, and just be grateful that we're actually going back, and slowly keep those people apart. Of course, you're not going to get as many clients in, but better some clients than no clients, as my partner Clive would say.
Absolutely.
You know, he's saying as always being Clive's, better some cake than no cake. And I said, well, actually, it's more like better some crumbs than no cake at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Interesting question, but I don't think we can answer it, Akin, which is from Anelia Giratano. She deals with hair loss wigs and toupees on medical grade for people with emotional issues. So they've got hair loss due to treatment or illness. And obviously without maintenance, they're struggling. And also she's saying their toupees could cause physical damage to the scalp due to glues and tapes. My advice to her would be contact the National Hair and Beauty Federation and get some specific advice about that, because that's a very niche and specialist area that she's working in. Absolutely. Go to the source of best information. Yeah, I would absolutely. So go to that. So I want to talk about you. So obviously I mentioned when we started 4 times, so nearly at the record that Mr. Sorby holds. There's only you and Angelo Seminara on 4 wins. So, but you've also been hugely successful with business awards. The 3 of you won Business Directors of the Year. So before we talk about awards specifically, how do you go about that creative? So you've been locked in, which is, and you're always traveling, you're never at home. How have you, I mean, we know you've been keeping busy, but what about the kind of the inspiration? Because you lead the creative for the company. Yeah. How have you been managing to fuel that desire? Well, I haven't really concentrated on my physical creativity of cutting hair, because that's just not possible. You know, my partner Gosha, fiance, she's got long hair and she'd be bald by now if I was practicing on her. I have cut my son's hair. Okay. I've cut my own hair and my son cut my hair. But apart from that, my energy has been focused on, physical activity in the garden. I've trimmed all of the trees. It's perfect. I mean, I've trimmed all of the bushes, trimmed, I've planted grass, I've replanted grass. I mean, it seems to be all kind of metaphorical of hair to some degree, but I am so big, I'm knackered. I don't stop working, but I feel physically strong. And then when I finish that, I go for a run. And then when I finish that, sometimes I have a workout in my gym.
Right.
I mean, the only way I've really coped with this mentally is to really keep myself busy, because otherwise the creativity, if you can't unleash that in some way, becomes frustration.
Yeah. Which is.
So my creativity is in lots of different ways, and then I'm reading books, I'm watching lots of documentaries, and none of this is because I want to develop myself. It just comes from, I need new sources of inspiration.
Yeah.
And then as far as the hair cutting goes, I mean, you know, once my head starts thinking about new hairstyles and what I want to do and what's going on, then it starts going crazy. Myself and my team, we discuss projects that we want to do when we get back, but because we're not back, it becomes again frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about the BHAs, getting that all together, but I want to see all the pictures in front of me. So I want to be in my office. I don't want to do it at home anymore. No. I want to be in an environment that's buzzing and friendly and crazy and mad and
a bit frenetic.
Yeah, but I've gone a bit mental on the physical activity, I must admit.
Okay. Well, that's keeping you in a good place. Then that's the way to do it. So you've mentioned the awards. When you guys are shooting, how does that kind of creative collaboration work for you and the team?
When we're shooting, that's about all hands on deck. That's about, if somebody's not actually contributing to that shoot on that day, in that minute, I'm not happy, because the whole process for me is one of growth and development. So every shoot that we do has got to be an improvement, a progression of what we've done before. So with that mindset that I have, it's a task that everybody needs to be enrolled in. So it opens up all kinds of fantastic things, that does. I mean, I've got one of my best friends, John Rawson, who trained me from since I was 17 years old as a hairdresser, always says, I'm not happy unless it's difficult. Right?
I would agree with that, knowing you.
Yeah, but that is not the case. I'm not happy unless it's perfect. Better.
Yeah.
Perfection is, I've realised that perfection is an affliction.
Okay.
All right, you're never going to attain perfection. No. So if you're trying to get perfection, it's a waste of time. And what would happen if you got perfection? Then you're stuffed because you've got nothing else to do.
What do you strive to?
So I'm always looking for better, best, develop, further forward movement. And so in that comes me pushing myself, but at the same time bringing my team with me. Yeah. So I could be pulling them by the ear. I mean, I could be saying, "Come on, where are you? You need to be getting this."
Yeah.
And as a person, I think that my team around me are there to be developed, because I know that the more I give, the happier I am, because my pleasure and all of our pleasure is in the reward of seeing the fruit of our labours.
Yeah, and you've fostered some amazing talent out of your group.
And I love them all, and because of that intent and because of that relationship that we've had, they're friends for life, and they always will be.
Yeah.
And it is based on a caring, because I believe in life you've got to have certain focuses, and those focuses need to be the spearhead of everything that you do. And mine is led consciously by caring. And if you care for things, and if you care for people, then they will nurture themselves, and they will develop themselves, they will progress themselves. So that's how I approach a photo shoot.
Yeah.
I care that it's going to be great, that it's going to be the best, that people are going to get from it. And so all the stuff that comes underneath care is a bit like a pyramid. It just falls into place. So if you do care, you're going to do your research. If you do care, you're going to have the team meetings. If you do care, you're going to listen to your team. If you do care, you're going to let somebody do something that they're better at than you.
Yeah.
And so your main objective has to be your directive that you follow in order to reach your goals. And that's really quite simple.
Do you have a favourite collection or a favourite image? Is there one thing that you've done that you just love slightly more than anything else?
I haven't got a favourite. If I think about all of my collections, every single one of them is my favourite, starting after 2005. Before that, they were not my favourite images. They weren't of the standard that obviously I'd like to be now. But I look at them with compassion and empathy. That was me then. But then after that, I started shooting with Jenny around 2005. Jenny Hands. And you know, we just were so good together. We taught each other so much, and we grew up together. And I find that year on year that we worked together, the work that we produced was exponentially improving.
Okay.
And when I look back at one of my favourite ones, it was, I think, the black and white one. What was that one? Gosh, the black and white one with the. I
know that one.
I think
Over the Eye.
Yeah, that one. That might have been my first win, 2008.
Yeah.
And that was just so before its time. And you know what? Maybe I didn't give Jenny enough credit at the time. And I thought, you know, I was being a hairdresser and look, it's my amazing hair that's done this. But actually, the way that she presented them were incredible. So that was my favourite shoot. And then if I look at another one of my shoots, my very close-up ones that was very inspired by the Sassoon close-ups, that was an incredible shoot as well. Then my shoot with the two girls with the hair up beehives. I mean, that was a great. And then I look back at my last shoot I did a couple of years ago. They're all my favourites.
That's good.
And I feel disloyal to say to any of my shoots, it was all right.
So it would be difficult for you to put back a collection of favourite images.
Impossible, in fact. Possible. Out of every collection of 8 or 10 pictures, at least 3 will be I will love. And there'll be at least 2 that I think, they're all right. And the rest are okay. They're good.
Yeah.
But I mean, my favourite image I think I've ever done, and I was actually looking at this the other day. I'll show you it. I've just got it ready on the phone. Was this one.
Okay.
For a few reasons.
Go on.
One, that's Elle. That was my muse. She's a muse model that we've had ever since, I don't know, about 10 years. She's still as beautiful as she was then. She's grown her hair now, but she would let me do whatever I want. So the trust was really important. And I gave her a real whack-off haircut. As you can see, that is quite vicious.
Yeah.
All right.
But beautiful.
And yet soft.
Yeah,
so she still looks pretty enough.
She still looks very feminine.
Yes, and that's got everything for me. It's got it's got it for the hairdressers, where we're pushing the geometry, the softness, the beauty aspect, the fashion aspect. And actually, there's many times I've tried to reproduce that haircut, and it never comes out as nice as that.
Okay.
Because it is such a difficult haircut. And I try and get it, and I think, and that just tells me that with education, it's so important that you teach people how to cut somebody's hair as opposed to how to cut hairstyles.
Yeah.
So you've got hairstyles that are really important in education. You've got hair, and then you've got people with hair. And for me, it's about people with hair, because the hairstyles that we do have to fit. It's pointless being a hat maker if you could only make hats for people with big heads.
It's true.
Right? It has to fit. And it has to fit their hair type and whatever. And that for me is what's so difficult about creating a beautiful hairstyle. I mean, there's a million miles between a beautiful, incredible, well done haircut and a haircut.
Yes.
One of them is just a covering for the head, and the other one is something that has so much professionalism and skill and understanding that hairstyle will look good when that person wakes up in the morning, in 2 weeks' time, in 3 weeks' time, in 6 weeks' time, in 8 weeks' time.
Yeah.
And that's the level that I want education to be at now in hairdressing. We need to teach people how to cut hair so it works, not just how to cut hairs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand that. What would you say to people, so someone starting out now, so if there are people watching now that are just starting out in their career, what would you say to them?
this is something that I feel very passionate about, and you know what, some of the things that I say, and I've learned over the years, will upset some people and really inspire other people. And I have made a choice now that I'll try not to upset too many people, but I will speak my truth. And the reality of that is that if you are going to be a hairdresser, you have got to go to the best possible mentors.
Yes.
Right? Which means best possible salon, which means the best possible people to educate and to lead you and inspire you.
Yeah.
So it's pointless going to the local salon that has no reputation and has no aspirations to get anywhere, and they just want to cut people's hair, and you're just going to be a hair washer. You need to go somewhere where people are really into their hairdressing, that live their hairdressing, that have got achievements, obvious achievements that they've worked for, and learn from them. I mean, I was really lucky. And from that luck, I've realised that if I wasn't lucky, I'd have been in trouble. I was directed towards going to work at Allen International as an assistant at an academy in Leicester Square under John Rawson.
Yeah.
I mean, how lucky can you be? I was a little kid from school, you know. What did I know about hairdressers?
I think also there's a lot for people that are working in kind of wherever they're working. There's also inspiration they can take from attending events, going to fellowship events.
Absolutely.
You know, those kind of hero hairdressers are accessible to everybody in a sense now through social media and through the number of live events that are run in the industry where people can share. And so in a sense, I don't disagree with you, but I think there are more opportunities for everybody because there are just more opportunities to learn now.
100% agree with you. As usual, Jane, you always further what my opinion is. And you're right. First and foremost, don't work somewhere that you're not going to be inspired. Work somewhere that you are going to enjoy and you're going to be taught, right?
Yeah.
And then secondly, due to people like yourself and the fellowship, there are so many other avenues you can go down. I mean, I would not be who I am today, A, without the fellowship, and B, without the BHAs. I mean, if it wasn't for the BHAs, I'd be Akin Konizi of HOB Salons. That's it. I wouldn't be 4 times British Hairdresser of the Year. I wouldn't be traveling the world probably. I wouldn't. I mean, I am my titles. Yes. We are our achievements.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I get that.
And the fellowship is, you have to be with the fellowship, because if you have any aspirations to be on a platform or on a stage or to get exposure or to be anything, you need a facilitator for that, and that is the fellowship. So get in touch, drive people crazy. Find out what's going on, and you have to be involved in those events. And we very much encourage our teams to be still involved in all of those things. That's how HOB started, and that's how we continue.
We've continued. So Marina, who is actually a very good friend of mine, lives in Australia, she said, correct, you're only as good as the people who teach you.
Absolutely right.
I think she's absolutely right. Now, we could talk for hours, but I can't believe we pretty much run out of time, and there's so much I was going to talk to you about. Best bit of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, it's always been from my mum and dad. They were both of a similar mentality, and if you're going to do it properly. That was it. I mean, you know, I was like 7 years old, and I was a Hoffman presser and a dry cleaner, and you know, I was being told how to do it better than, you know, grown-up professionals. And I agree, because unless you do something properly and to the best of your ability, there's no reward. You're just a worker. So do it the best you can, and that opens up all the doors.
And finally, there's a lot of love for you on the comments, by the way. So
Lovely,
Phil Collins says you're a legend, and Vincenzo
Thanks,
Tramontano, you're the best.
Thanks, Rich.
What would you say now to your 18-year-old self?
Jane, you know, I had a feeling you were going to ask that, and it kept me up all night, that question, because again, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but
just be honest.
Yeah, I mean, to my 18-year-old self in 1980, buy as many properties as you can.
Oh, what good advice that would have been.
Save your money and buy a property. Don't eat, don't drink, don't go out, don't nothing. buy as many properties as you can. Now, it kept me up because I was going to say the usuals, like, you know, give yourself a break, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's a different time now, but really it isn't.
No.
Property is always going to be something that's going to be unattainable in the future, but it is always attainable in the present. So do what you can to think about your future when you're young.
Yeah, very good advice. Very good. Juliet Urban said she's loved this. Big thank you. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been lovely to see you and catch up. Love to the boys when you speak to them later, and hopefully we'll get to see you soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Take care, Akin. Lots of
love.
love.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for
Bye.
watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.